All right, awesome. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome, everybody. I'm Eric on the go-to-market team for Ephemera and XMTP. Today's going to be a little bit different of a dev call. We're going to make it very conversational, more open. I'll go over a few things. We'll have some updates from Rye as well in the Node SDK and some other things, but we want to make this more conversational and hear more from you on how we can improve the developer experience in building on XMTP moving forward. So we got an amazing mix of people here today. Some of you have been shipping agents already. Some of you are just getting started. And some of you are just curious on what XMTP is. So the goal today, like I said, is to share what we shipped recently, get your input, and just get some feedback and start moving here. We're gonna keep this casual, collaborative, so feel free to jump in, raise your hand, interrupt as we get going. So cool, thanks. All right, awesome. So I got into this already in the agenda, but we're going to get into just taking a step back on why build agents on XMTP, what shipped, and then we'll get specific on the developer experience roadmap. Cool. So taking a step back, why build on XMTP? Why build agents on XMTP in general? So XMTP is built for developer freedom. No gatekeepers, no app store, no API rug pulls, no centralized servers to deal with anymore. This is a massive unlock. And XMTP is built for that developer freedom that most ecosystems say that, but XMTP actually delivers on this. So with no gatekeepers, you don't have to ask anyone to go live, no approval queues, no platform politics to play. You just build and ship. That's it. Build and ship. You have no app store to deal with either. Your agents can just exist in wallets, launch on the new base app and any platform or any client that supports XMTP moving forward. And there's going to be a lot more. And no API rug pulls, open protocol infrastructure, no middleman who can cut you off. I know if you ask Shane about this, building on top of Twitter back in the day, he got rugged on this exact same thing. And no centralized servers that can deplatform you, take you off, or ask or governments ask a company to take your messages. So that's why we're here. So at the end of the day, you own this. Agents have built-in payments. You can move money in and out, swap, send, native financial rails to be able to build on top of this. It's secure and private. Every message end-to-end encrypted. Metadata is also minimized in here. Your users aren't tracked or profiled, and it can live anywhere. Agents have the ability to be in TBA, also across any XMTP supported client, like I just said. Cool. So the stack unlocks a whole new way to build, message first with AI agents, secure and interoperable money to be able to move money anywhere in the world. Cool. So I'm going to pass it over to Rye to show what shipped, and then we'll get into more of the developer experience moving forward.
Hey, everyone. We released a new Node SDK specifically to give a better experience for agent devs with their streams. So the big one is automatic stream recovery. So if your agent, if for some reason our nodes went down, usually this happens briefly when we deploy updates, or whatever system you're on loses internet connectivity, the stream will just fail silently and there's nothing much you can do. We have posted some workarounds for this because we added a callback called onFail initially to help with this, but that did require you to actually do some things on your own. With this update, that is no longer the case. So if the stream does fail, it will automatically attempt to reconnect up to 6 times with a 10-second delay between each. The reason why these numbers were chosen is you have about a minute basically to try to get your connection back, which generally speaking is enough time if our nodes get redeployed to reconnect. And what this does is if you're using the async iterator to, the 408 of, that will still be out throughout this entire process. And in fact, it's very difficult for that stream to terminate now. Even if we get a stream error coming in, I'm jumping ahead to the third item here on the list. Prior to this update, if a stream error came in, it would actually end that stream. That's no longer the case. You can monitor all errors coming in with the on-error callback, which is this new options object that you're going to be passing into all these streaming functions. It will alert you there, but it will keep the stream going. Really, the only way to end the stream is if there's an actual error in the code that you're using inside of this 408 of loop, or you call the stream.end method to end the stream. Second item here is these new stream callbacks. So I've just added a few more ways to hook into the streaming process. If you want to hook into the retry process, there's the on retry and the on restart callback. On retry is going to trigger when a new retry is attempted. It will give you the current attempts along with the maximum attempts into that callback. So you can potentially notify your users or yourself of what's happening there. And when the stream does successfully restart, you'll have the on restart callback going. Other callbacks are the pretty standard stuff. The only one that's new, there's two new ones here, are the on value and on end. The on value callback will be called when the stream gets a new value, and on end will execute when the stream does in fact end. Yeah, and then of course the last item here is the stream value. Before, when you're in this 408 of loop, that message value could be undefined in the past. That's no longer the case. It will always be the intended value. In this case, that's a decoded message. For conversations, it will be an instance of group or DM, depending on what type of conversation it is. All of this new stuff is fully configurable. So if you don't like 6 times in 10 seconds, you can reconfigure that, or you can just disable it. If you want to do your own thing, that's also possible. Just monitor that on fail callback, and then you can do your own thing. So yeah, that's what's shipped in the new Node SDK.
Awesome. Thanks, Ray. Sweet. All right. Sean, can you chat with everybody now? Sean, you there?
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Cool. So next part will be more interactive. So chat will definitely be needed. So on the developer roadmap, we have a few categories that we'd love to level up here. So the first is deployment. So this is how agents are hosted, deployed, scaled across environments. The next is on storage and encryption, reliability, dev tools and testing, content types, I know is a big one we've been talking about, and then listener installation. So this is a list that we've compiled. I can share it in a bit, but just wanted to start here on these kind of higher level topics to see how we can dig in and improve each of these. I know Raj just went over a lot on the new upgrade for reliability, but would love to learn more about each of these sections. So feel free to unmute, jump in the chat, and we can dive into one of these sections first if anyone has any ideas here. All right, Leon. Hey, Leon, you should be able to unmute. Let me see.
Hey guys, you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just like I can now just on my phone, so I'm without the camera. Yeah, so very excited about the new upgrade that you did. First, maybe quick intro about what we are doing. So we are building like a coordination layer for AI agents. And basically, we started to experiment with XMTP a few months ago when we built. So we been part in the hackathon on base hackathon that you did. Yeah, and for us, I think reliability is the most important item, and the dev tooling maybe. Mm. We have integrated XMTP into our marketplace. So basically, you can communicate with the agents with XMTP. We still had some issues with communicating agents with the agent communication. So for us, like it's also like the content types. It's interesting. What we're really interested to see how to send transactions to the XMTP. How can I? So what we are doing, we are building more complex messages that users and agents can send to each other. Mm, And then from basically adding more content types, it will be very interesting. Yeah, that's just about us and how we see XMTP, and we really need to about the part of the with.
Great. Thanks, Leon. Cool. So you mentioned content types, reliability as your top two. Some things we can get into there. But anyone else have any other thoughts here? Sean, awesome. Best practice for deployment, things like Docker Compose, Railway. Cool. How many types contents? Cool. Sean, do you want to come off mute and ask, and we can get into that discussion?
Yeah, like some prior examples. I know like Fabri has examples with Railway. Like for deploying agents that are meant to be used over TBA. Just curious if there's any best practices. And then I'm planning ahead for scaling if TBA gets to, I don't know, if it's out there as a mini app or able to be chatted with, kind of planning ahead for scaling and just any ideas there.
So are you asking how we scale the network here?
Scaling, like if something is deployed on Railway,
Okay.
when does it hit its limits at a single instance of an agent? And are there any best practices to prepare for higher demand? I mean, part of it is talking over XMTP network. Part of it's like using the agent inference. I guess I'm talking about more the XMTP network. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Sean, I can jump in. Yeah, so the limitation, so we have two limitations today. The first one is the current protocol limitations, like its current performance, and we are aware of its own limits already. So it's struggling if we want to send like hundreds or thousands of messages to an agent like really quickly, like in a span of seconds. Agents take some time to answer, so there is definitely many improvements and bottlenecks that we can improve for agents today without having to, without need of different deployment servers or infrastructure. And yeah, that will take us somewhere, definitely. And then there are the more of the theoretical limits of how many requests can an agent in Railway handle. Probably, if I had to guess, it would be like maybe tens of thousands. We definitely, the first scaling fixes are first in the roadmap, let's say. All these performance things that we can improve, especially in the Rust, in libxmtp library. How we process welcomes, how we, for example, it's not the same if you already have a conversation established with the user than if it's a first-time user. So because you need to create the new DM, and that takes more time. So there are a couple of things that we are looking into, and yeah, for like long-term scaling, I guess first we'll need to see how all of this performs in the decentralized network that is coming soon, and after that, yeah, maybe at some point you will need like some kind of load balancing or something on the more customization, maybe on the agent, or maybe on the streams, like this update, but with more features related to scaling. But it's unclear yet.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I get. That's my question is, as a developer, that helped explain. But like, say I put up an agent address on TBA, and maybe there's some scheme where people get an airdrop if they message it, and it hits some viral loop where it starts getting messages all the time. I know there's like network limits or theoretical limits, but then like the developer, like best practices for myself to plan ahead for that sort of maybe hundreds per messages per minute type of thing, which yeah, but yeah, thank you for answering my question.
Yeah, I guess we have these months in beta to prepare for that. Like if today you want to do, like, let's say a big activation on social media and put a link to your agent, which I guess is something that we don't have yet, like a deep link into the agent. But let's say you want to, and now we're talking about, tens of thousands of people like wanting to get an airdrop. That will probably fail today, and that is something that we need to prepare to. You are muted, Sean, just in case.
Yeah, Sean, do you want to share what you're building?
We lost Sean.
We lost him. All right.
Maybe we can. Do you have someone? Python SDK is not in the plans. It's not in the medium-term roadmap. Yeah, we've been managing well with the JavaScript SDK. We haven't seen any like real need for the Python. Of course, everything is open source, and a Python SDK could, in theory, be built as it is today, but of course, it will be like a lot of work.
Maybe I'll share that there's a member of the community who started working on a Python SDK, like as you're suggesting, Fabri, because everything is open. So maybe I'll share a link to their post in the forum, and maybe if folks want to help out or contribute to something that he already started, that may be an option. Let me share the link.
Hey, Dwell. Welcome. All right, who else we got?
Hey, hi. Hey.
Dual.
Yeah, sorry, you have a question for me? Hi, Fabri. Hi.
Yeah, we're just discussing what we can level up here on the developer roadmap experience for XMTP. I know we chatted last week in LA about some things, but yeah, anything top of mind for you, Dewal?
Oh, nope. I think, I'm looking forward to these updates as well. Do you have any insights into 402 payments dual? No, but like what we were like trying to do is, enable like say a splitwise kind of an application within Elsa, so that like let's say in case there are like 5 people in the chat on TPA. Okay, and let's say they'll all go out for a meal and they just want to sort of Dutch. Okay, they should be able to sort of do that. And then, like, are there any specific message formats? Like, say, if there are like images that are being uploaded, okay, would they reside on like XMTP side, or like we were just finding like a little bit of challenge around, scanning the image and retrieving it as well. So I think like, yeah, I don't know if someone from our team reached out to you, Fabri.
Yeah, I did follow up with the images issue the other day. So I guess maybe they
Okay.
are already working on it.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Like this is for scanning like a restaurant bill, something like that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hey, Leon, can you talk more about that? That we explored the X402 integration?
Yeah,
It's pretty top of mind for us right now.
Yeah, sure. So as I said, we had called Coinbase team about that. And no, we basically need the building commerce layer for AI agents and support like multiple protocols for communication, and XMTP is basically the ideal choice for us because it's basically others to others communications. And on top of it, we want to build a monetization solution. So that's why we try to follow through with the Coinbase solution. And we also try to integrate it with our stack. And what Coinbase guys, what they said when they chat with Lincoln from their team, and so some other devs also gave feedback. So right now their protocol it's very HTTP. Basically, X402 it's payments for HTTP. That's what we do. Basically, it's paywall, guard paywall for requests. So any other protocol that's not HTTP, even WebSocket, I don't think they have a straightforward way to support it. In my opinion, they need to refactor the protocol and to do much more extensions, much more plugins to support like XMTP, WebSocket, to support any other kinds of transport layers, basically. So for me, honestly, I don't think that X402. I'm not sure that's the best solution to pay for agents right now. Yeah. So that's basically what we got from our own research.
Okay, good to know. Did you implement anything that you can use now that you can pay for the agent? I think I tested what you guys built during the hackathon, and you had like a request payment feature in there.
So what we have? So we basically we improved very much. Right now, you can give tasks to agents. You can pay to agents on chain with our SDK, and we've integrated this into our product, into Agent Hub. That what we really like to do is to integrate it with XMTP and make it integratable also with the Coinbase wallet. So that's why what I mentioned about the content types. I think it can be very interesting. Basically, how can I ask a user to pay for the work of the agent through through, through the through the chat? If we can connect basically the chats to our protocol, to our smart contracts, that's going to be a big win for us.
Awesome. Yeah, we'd love to work with you on that. And we can draw up an XIP and see what that looks like.
Awesome. Yeah. So happy to follow up on this.
Sean, do you have another thought there? I didn't read what you said yet.
Like, in general, I'm asking like how much of these topics you might have like new info on that could be put in the docs, and then how much of it is like more, I guess, talking about it to try to find out what's needed. Like if there is best practices or new info, it'd be nice to see the docs page updated.
Yep. Yeah, that's great feedback. I think there's a few different streams of work here, right? There's some stuff that we're updating directly to the Node SDK. It just goes and is updated automatically, and we're just sending comms about those updates. And then I think conversations like this, we're trying to gather feedback, see what's possible, add more to that agent repo, like more examples. Like what other examples would you like to see? Like payment sounds pretty interesting right now. Whether it's X402 or exploring another path there. Adding in like Dymo Pay or any other examples like in that actual repo, I think is something that we can definitely do and level up here. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. And, like working examples of like the things happening in group chats. I know everyone's developing really fast on their own, but like putting BankerBot inside a group chat, like how much of it are they keeping closed source? How much of it is open source that maybe you guys at XMTP could help showcase and level up people?
Cool. Yeah. What would you want to see with Banker in a group specifically, or what example would you want to see?
I guess if they progress any further beyond like the example repos for agents, like especially like interacting with XMTP, I agree. It's like feels very like, unsolved with like how fast XMTP is developing, how developers can stream messages, and if an agent's part of many different group chats and doing DMs, just running that. I did have a question about the listener part of it at the end because I hadn't heard that term before, like setting up listeners. I don't know if you could talk about that.
Sure. I think Fabio or Ryan might be best to touch on that.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah. So do you have a live agent today?
I'm like very close to getting one out. It's like a side project right now. But yeah, something to do with like base names and registering base names over XMD chat. It's actually similar to something that I saw like Near has something called shade agents that the Near protocol is really pushing, and so I'm trying to combine those two parts of it.
Okay, great. So you use already XMTP, or you are familiarized with some of the code?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I just wanted to talk about the listeners that we call streams. We just did a big update that includes a lot of error handling and retry inside the SDK.
that's something that before we were doing, like we were giving guidance to developers on how to perform those actions, like for example, monitor the stream, handle errors, or doing retries when maybe the connection goes down for a couple of seconds. And now everything is swallowed by the SDK itself. And yeah, so it's like out of the box, streams are much more reliable and less effort for developers.
Cool. And like, so using the Node SDK, that comes innate. That's part of the SDK.
Yeah, that's part of the SDK because we have XMTPs. So the SDKs are a thin layer on top of the Rust library, which is it's called libxmtp. The Rust library is where all the logic, all the encryption resides. And SDKs provide a very thin layer on top. So sometimes, for example, the streams, the stream connection architecture is handled by the Rust library. Everything is handled by the Rust library. So in the past, if there were some issues in the Rust library, maybe the SDK wasn't able to catch them properly. Yeah, because of the translations between Rust and each of the SDKs. But yeah, we did a lot of work around this, and now streams are much more reliable because they also are much more capable of sensing errors in the Rust library. So yeah, and now there is more logic included on the SDK itself, not just on the Rust library. So it's like double measure.
Okay, thank you.
Wonder if we have like Dual still here, or some of the developers that currently have a working agent in TBA, if any of them can give us like, tell us about the experience so far, and if you're getting users, how that looks, anything you can tell us about that would be helpful.
I think the wall and Hish had to drop. Let's see. Hey, Jonathan, you want to talk more about your comment there? See, it's still on.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I can elaborate a little bit. We've been using the ELIZA plugin XMTP for a lot of our current work and use cases, and have recently we went to deploy, and I think Scott mentioned this earlier in the chat. And with like the default Railway deployment with Docker, we ran into just a few native bindings issues, which I think was from maybe like the node bindings package, but like we were able to work around it. But could have been due to us using Bun, but I think like if you're looking for things on the docs, maybe some deployment examples or common like Docker patterns or something like that could be really helpful. But the DX of that plugin has been great. I don't know if I think your team may maintain that, but we got a lot out of the box with it, and then we've extended. We had to make like 1 or 2 tweaks to the plugin that we will likely try to make a PR back into the ecosystem there. But beyond that, we were able to like reach directly into the Node SDK. Really been able to work very quickly in that with that pattern. Just like the deployment was really the only thing that I think would be very helpful. And and Scott also mentioned just like one other thing we were looking for is image support. So like seeing that the Node SDK does support like image and attachments, I believe, but the plugin I know it does not have that yet. So I don't know if that's like on the roadmap, but I think like other other devs likely using ELIZA in that plugin would probably like image support as well. But yeah, that overall our experience has been great with that plugin. So thank you if y'all maintain that.
Awesome. Yeah, we'd love to see some screenshots or logs around the issues, because if it's just Railway, it usually works out of the box. So I would love to see more about that.
Yeah, right on. We can definitely share that. So we were thinking it may be specifically because of us using Bun, but like I think one thing with that was like a lot of the ELIZA ecosystem uses Bun. So happy to share the errors there and how we were able to work around it. Just so like what's the best way for us to share that? Like where should we send any screenshots or errors that we had?
Yeah, well, this one would be a good fit for our XMTP GS repo. That is where Node SDK lives.
Cool. Yeah, definitely can do that.
Let me share. I should share on the chat.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. I think, yeah, we'll be, we have a couple of things that we made. We'll probably have like a PR for in the ELIZA plugin, but yeah, I think, we were able to get up and running with like being able to have our agent and XMTP chat as well as in the base app for our testing very, very directly out of the box. And then like the tweaks we had to make were supporting our own use cases. So yeah, definitely really appreciate the work and thought that went into that plugin. Was like, it worked out of the box effectively for most use cases.
Awesome. Nice. Yeah, Jonathan, if you want to drop your username for the base app, I can add you to the group chat if you're not in there already. Sean too, if you guys want to do that. And Scott, you mean add image support for the ELIZA plugin?
Yeah, we were just trying to check to see if the ELIZA plugin supported replies. We're not totally sure yet, but yeah, supporting replies in the context and image support would be really huge as we look to extend that functionality a bit.
Awesome. Cool. And also, any other thoughts, questions on anything developer related, on base app, on XMTP? Thanks, Sean.
I had one question about like installations. Like there's a max of 10 installations. And this maybe is semantics, but like it says like if I deploy an agent on Fly and then one on Railway, those are two separate installations and they have two different inboxes. And then if I deploy like to US West and then like US East, are those two different installations? And like, does this number of 10 installations prevent from like scaling to within a system? Like if I have two different agents on Railway to handle the load, are those two different installations? The docs are a little unclear here.
Okay, so go ahead.
No, it's okay. It's okay. You got it.
I was gonna say, you only have a single inbox, up to 10 installations at any given time. So if you deploy multiple installations, all that means is that that installation has its own local DB, but it's the same inbox. So if you have both of them listening, and people send you messages, both of those installations should pick up those messages. Does that make sense?
Scott, or was that Sean who asked that? Did you guys get that?
Oh yes, yeah. Sorry, I was muted for a second, but just quoting from the docs, it says if you move installations, you have a fresh conversation history, but I guess you could look up. Can you look up like past messages?
Yeah, so there are ways to sync between installations. There's a sync all method that's part of that. And what that does is if you have a brand new installation that's come online, you would take one of your previous installations, you would run sync all there, and then sync all on the new installation. And eventually they will sync, and you will have access to your conversation history. But you need access to a single installation to bring the history over to a new installation.
Okay, cool. I didn't know about sync all of that. That helps.
Scott, you want to expand on your thought there? Or debug features in the example repo?
Just as we were digging in and are considering building a client, trying to help JP and I understand a bit more about the installation versus the inbox ID versus the identity and kind of how those all interplay. It took a bit of parsing through the docs to really kind of grok how that worked. And yeah, so if the example could provide a smidge more on kind of how that correlation goes and that kind of process for syncing between installations would be awesome.
Awesome. That's great feedback.
And if you have any feedback, Scott, on how you understood how the identity works or what you liked about it, wanted it to do different, et cetera. We spent a lot of time trying to make a really open and flexible identity system where you can connect it to any network, any chain, any identity, and really XMTP is like an unopinionated identity layer. So we have the XMTP ID that can connect to anything, but we're not a namespace. We want you to be able to bring any namespace and have the interoperability as simple as a passkey between the whole network. So I would love any, feedback on that. And if that's what you want, if you would want something else that's useful, not, et cetera.
Cool. Yeah, we'll make sure that's more prominent, this doc you just shared, Scott. Cool. All right, as we wrap up, any one thing we can deploy, work on, build that can make your life 10x easier? feel free to drop it in the chat or just unmute. Just one thing. And we talked a lot today, but just one thing. Anybody? No?
I have a question
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
to add on to it. I'm wondering how people are using AI agents, if you're using any AI coding tools, and just wanted to share a link to an LLMs dash full file that you can give to your AI agent to ingest all of the docs in one file. So if that's helpful to you, it includes just the agent docs and all of the code samples.
Ooh, awesome.
And any feedback you have on that, happy to hear as well.
I could check maybe the end of the file. Or could that file also be either version stamped or time stamped for like when it's last updated?
Oh,
Just-
sure thing. And it gets updated each time we merge a change to the docs. So it should be up to date.
Okay.
It's like automatic. But yeah, I will find a way to add that timestamp. Thank you.
Yeah, to your other question, I'm also using so to develop, I'm using Claude Code a lot, and they also have a Claude Code SDK, which I believe it's possible to like basically put behind XMTP. So I'm looking into that as well. And Claude Code's been really excellent.
Awesome. That's great. Cool. All right, guys. Any other thoughts, feedback? One thing? Cool. All right. Well, thanks for joining and all the thoughts, Scott, John, and Sean. This was really good. Yeah, we'll get you guys on that XMTP base group if you're not there already. I have all your Farcast. I'll add you guys right after this call. Cool. I think we can wrap up there. And any feedback as well, feel free to message me directly, scan the survey. We're trying to really make these developer calls more open. Share what we're working on. We're going to take all this feedback and have a list of priorities, and we'll share that publicly and really work with you guys to make this developer experience that much better for you, and deploy once and have agents everywhere is our main goal here. So yeah, thanks everyone for joining, and we'll see you all next time. Thank you.